How's it going, everyone? We're out for another cruise in the Mustang. Topic for today's video, as you can probably tell by the title, is why I chose a Mustang why I chose to buy a Mustang GT. So why I chose the Mustang over the other competitors in my little short list. But first, why I decided to buy a sports car altogether. As you may know, my first baby, with the exception of my actual baby daughter, of course, is my custom motorcycle, my Yamaha XVS 650. I did that back in, must be, 2013, so what's that, about 5 years ago, that I had fun doing that project, customising the bike, stripping it all down in my father-in-law's garage and customising it into like a bobber style custom bike. I talked a little bit about this in my last moto vlog, but I'm a bit of a fair weather rider. First couple of years I did ride over winter, but then I got to a point where I didn't really enjoy going out for rides when it's anything under like 20 degrees, or when it's windy, or when there's any like chance of rain or anything like that. I'd been starting to quite fancy a sports car that I could use it like today. I mean, it's been nice and sunny all morning. I've been doing my chores this morning, so I've only managed to get out after lunch. But obviously the sunshine's now gone. It's all overcast and slight drizzle. So if I hadn't got my car, I probably wouldn't have bothered even going out on my bike, especially this time of year when it's quite cold. I mean, what are we today? It's quite warm today actually, at 13 degrees. But when you're out on a bike, that's like feels like 3 degrees. So that was one of the reasons which tempted me to get a nice little sports car. Plus the fact that this house that we've got now has a nice double garage. So it's the first garage I've ever owned. Previously, my motorbike used to live in my mother and father-in-law's garage, so I had to walk around there with all my biking gear on to be able to go out in it. So before we even got this house, one of the things I was really looking forward to was having my own garage space that I could, you know, do another. Well, one is to actually store my own vehicle in there, but also I was really looking forward to doing another bike project. Well, that was my original plan anyway, using the garage space that I've now got. But I thought, because I'm not enjoying riding as much, I'd probably just do the project, then look at selling the bike. So then I thought, well, maybe I should just get a little sports car instead, particularly one that I can customise a little bit. So that's the story that led up to me deciding that I fancied a little sports car. Models wise that I was considering, I mean, the thing that really kicked this all off was the Jaguar F-Type when that was released. Absolutely loved that car. Way too expensive when it first came out, and still after a few years it's still, I think last I checked, I think prices were still like 50 grand upwards. Of course I'd have been wanting the V8 as good as the V6 is. I mean, it looks great, sounds great. It's just that knowing that it's not the top spec V8, it's just that would have put me off slightly. So I probably would have had to have paid that extra premium for the V8 if I could have even afforded one, that is. But my overall spec like wish list is a nice meaty engine, preferably a V8, just because of the you know, you can't beat a classic V8 rumble, can you? Coupe, although there were a couple of other cars that I was considering, which I'll talk about in just a second. I also fancied something with some prestige to it. A couple of the models that I'll talk about in a second didn't quite have that same prestige, even though they're obviously cheaper to acquire. They didn't have that same kind of appeal to them, and also something that I could customise. So the F-Type checked most of those requirements. Nice throaty V8, definitely got the prestige to it. It lacked somewhat in the customisation ability front. So I don't think there would have been much, if anything, that I would have done to that, because it looks great as it is. There's no perfect design. I don't think there were any modifications that I want to do visually. Even down to wheels, the wheels that come with it are standard pretty nice. Sounds great, so no need for even exhaust modifications. Plus, obviously, like I said, the cost is just was way too high. I was also thinking about Aston Martin V8 Vantage, although to get that into my like price range that I was even considering, which was like a max of 40 grand, and that would have been like having to borrow loads and finance it and everything else, which is not something I particularly wanted to do, because I prefer to just save up and then buy things outright. I mean, luckily enough, as I explained in a previous video, I managed to turn my small little savings for this car into like triple it and be able to afford to buy it outright with the help of some Bitcoin and cryptocurrency investments. But the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, I'd have had to be looking at a car that was like over 10 years old to even get into that price range. That fulfilled the engine requirements. Nice V8, sounds great. There was some customization that I would be looking to do to it, just subtle mods. Mostly it would be to make it into like give it the V8 Vantage S styling, you know, with the different bumpers. I'm trying to think now what differences there were. There was the vents on the bonnet, just nice little subtle tasteful mods, and obviously that's got the prestige to it as well. Although, just like the F-Type V6, the V8 Vantage suffers from the same sort of issue, that it's like the bottom of the range Aston model. That's why it's called the baby Aston. So despite being a nice prestigious car, it's just knowing that it's kind of like the bottom entry-level vehicle, even after paying all that money. I was also looking at Audi R8s, the first gen ones, to get into my little price range. A fair bit of customization I could have done. You know, nice exhaust, a few little like cosmetic visual mods, like they do the carbon fibre replacement panels and stuff like that. Despite being an everyday brand, it's still got some prestige to it. It's still, you know, driving down the road, people still appreciate it. Although, a similar issue like with the V6 F-Type versus the V8, I mean, the R8 at least has a nice V8 engine, but that's the baby version. It's the V10 that was subsequently released. It was like the go-to version. So like the V8 variant became like the slightly more undesirable version. Despite personally, I prefer the sound of a V8 better than a V10. They've got a lot of your like GT spec cars from your big European manufacturers like Mercedes, BMW, even Audi, even Porsche to some extent. But Porsche in particular, although they are great cars, they're just styling wise, they're not my cup of tea. I love the back end of them. It's just the front end styling of the front end I'm not too keen on. While a lot of those GT cars, they do fulfill a lot of those requirements in the engine and customizability departments, but they just don't have that prestige to them. They're just like run-of-the-mill executive cars. Even though they are the nice sporty versions, like an M4, it's a really cool car. Like the various Mercedes AMG, like the C63 and stuff like that, but they just don't have that same, they don't like stand out, if you know what I mean. Although those cars were much more into my like price range that I'd have been wanting to spend. Then because I wanted something that I could use as kind of like a project that I could customise, I started looking into some like smaller brand cars, you know, something that didn't have the prestige but I could customise it and make it my own. So I thought about maybe like a Subaru Impreza, something fairly old that I could you know, tune up slightly. I mean, I've just moved on from a Subaru Forester as a family car, you know, the older 2003 variant. So I thought about maybe getting like a 2003 Impreza and continuing my my love for that car in the Impreza, because basically it's the same car underneath. Although it just wouldn't be really anything special, you know, compared to like a proper sports cum supercar. Plus I'd probably actually struggle trying to find an Impreza that hadn't already been tuned up. Then the actual closest competitor to the Mustang was actually a Toyota GT86. It's got the styling. It's somewhat sporty styling. It is basically a sports car, although a low-end budget sports car. It's got a decent, if somewhat underpowered engine, a nice flat 4. So it is something a little bit special. And there's plenty I could have done for customization. One of the things, if I were going to get a GT86, I would have also gone and got the turbo conversion done. The only problem with that is, again, it's nothing. It would be made my own, but it wouldn't be anything special. It wouldn't really feel like an achievement, like a nice, like owning a sports car, and it's like kind of like a life achievement into the GT86 wouldn't have that prestige to it. And also, after all those mods, especially the turbo conversion, I think the insurance would probably actually be more than what I pay on this. A lot more, actually. Because one of the advantages of this is not having any performance enhancing modifications in mind. That keeps the insurance cost in check. So when you start altering engine and stuff, the insurance starts cranking up the price. So that just led me onto the Mustang GT when this was released in right-hand drive. It piqued my interest, and it does kind of fulfill all my requirements. Got a nice engine, V8, 5-litre V8. Plenty of customizability that I can do. Like I mentioned in my last video, if you want to see what plans I've got for this thing, there's plenty of both visual and performance mods it can do. And it does have quite a bit of prestige to it, even though it's like a run-of-the-mill brand Ford. What I love about the Mustang is everyone appreciates it. It's like some of the like reviews that I saw about it. You can have like a 35 grand Mustang at like a supercar meet, and it can be parked up next to cars that are like 2 times, 3 times, even 4 times more expensive, like your Ferraris and your Audi R8s and your Lamborghinis, and it can get as much attention as all those cars. It's loved just as much by young school kids as you pass a school, as much as like your older generation who have followed its like development since the first one was released. Everyone knows what it is. So despite being a Ford, it's still got something special about it. Plus, obviously, there's the most important factor for me, which was the price. I mean, 35 to 37 brand new, and I managed to get mine for under 30. Just over a year old, I think it was, or 2 years old. Can't remember. Yeah, 2 years old, I think. And also something I forgot to mention about those kind of lower budget cars like the Subaru or the GT86. One of the main advantages of those I would have been a lot more open to doing track days and things in those cars, because of you're not going to be as worried about breaking it, and it's going to be a lot cheaper to repair if you do break something. Whereas if I'd have ended up like spending thousands and thousands on a more prestigious car, there's no way I would have taken that on near a track. That would have probably been the same situation as my bike, where I wouldn't have gone out if it were like any chance of rain. It would have just ended up being stuck in garage most of the time. So at least with the Mustang, it's kind of in like kind of halfway zone. I would like to take it on track if I can find one with plenty of runoff, like an airfield day. So it's kind of like a nice balance between my little baby that I'm not going to let anyone go near it, and something that I'm quite happy to take it out on drives in rain over winter and just enjoy it. So let's see, as we drive past these nice prestigious car dealerships, AMG, Mercedes-Benz, let's see anything in there that I'd fancy instead. Oh, it's turned into a smart car dealership. Porsche. I do love the look of some of those, the GT3 and whatever else. I don't know many Porsche model names, but there are some really nice cars. I mean, they just don't, there's something about them that just don't appeal to me. But let me know if you can think of any models that you personally would have chosen over a Mustang. I kind of like whether it be in this sort of price range, whether it be like an M4 or something, or even if you'd have just kept on saving and gone for something a bit more upmarket. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. I'm going to go and try and find some nice country lanes to drive on, rather than I've somehow ended up getting stuck in city centre traffic. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.